Hi, my name is Ashley, and today I will be presenting my case study on Elizabeth Holmes. The term white collar was first introduced by Edwin H. Sutherland in 1939. He defined it as a crime associated with high social status professionals that are well respected and commit a crime, such as fraud or embezzlement over the course of their employment. The classic profile of a white collar criminal is a well educated professional with high social status that holds a well trusted position, such as a CEO or financial advisor. There are several theories explaining white collar crime, but a few are rational choice theory, which weighs the risk and benefits of the crime, differential association theory, which explains how white collar behavior is learned through social interactions, and strain theory, which is the most common because it explains how an individual's inability to succeed leads them to develop stress and commit crime. My case study is based on Elizabeth Holmes, former CEO of Theranos and developer of the Edison device, a revolutionized blood testing device that was advertised as less cost-effective and more accurate. Holmes quickly found out that her device was flawed, and instead of fixing it, she defrauded many investors. She was found guilty of defrauding investors and was sentenced to roughly 11 years in prison. To carry out her crime, Elizabeth used misleading statements, such as replacing the Edison device blood test with standard lab tests. She utilized the reports to then falsely advertise her device as the next big blood testing machine and fool investors and victims into trusting her device. Strain theory helps explain the motives of white-collar crime. In this case, Elizabeth's failure to create a revolutionized device caused her to find malicious ways to achieve this goal regardless of whether it was done through legitimate means or not. Sutherland's theory demonstrates why white-collar crime is relevant today. Not only does white-collar crime affect a large group of people, but it highlights the fact that crime may be committed by anyone regardless of their social, economic, and racial background. He further showcases the importance of peer influence and how people quickly learn deviant behavior from others. In the case of Elizabeth Holmes, there was an absence of law enforcement obstacles. Within the case were whistleblowers, documentary evidence, and intent that was proven. This eliminates three major obstacles that law enforcement could have faced when charging her, because there was internal emails, documentary evidence as mentioned, and whistleblowers. Statistically speaking, white-collar crime is on a rise. In 2024, a 5% loss in revenue was the median percentage for companies. Not only do companies lose during a fraud, but also investors who put their money into that company. The Federal Trade Commission reported that $5.7 billion were lost solely through investors that were scammed or defrauded. This number is not including all other frauds or forms of white-collar. White-collar crime is greatly overseen by many agencies, including the Federal Trade Commission, Department of Justice, and the FBI. These legislative branches ensure that the policies and regulations are being met to prevent white-collar crime in a business entity. In order to prevent white-collar crime, self-policing, loss prevention strategies, and regulatory policing are important. Self-policing recommends that each business holds their own private policing responses, while loss prevention strategies highlight the use of undercover and whistleblowers. Lastly, regulatory policing is commonly used today as it allows for officers to investigate crimes after being reported by the corporation itself. Thank you.